All right, guys, welcome to the first One Mission mentorship call with the whole new refresh. My name is Joey Wilson. I'm fired up and excited to be here today. I'm a Crown Ambassador with Akashx. But real quick, type in the chat how long you guys have been inside of the network marketing industry or with Akashx, just so I can kind of get a feel of who I'm talking to here. 1 year, 3 years, 2 months, 2 months, few months now, 1 week, 2 months, 3 months, 5 years. Okay, a little bit of a mix. We got some new people on here. Well, congratulations. If you're just getting started in this industry, I'll tell you, it is my favorite industry in the world to use as a vehicle to create a great life. And I truly mean that. Does that mean it's going to be easy? No. Does that mean it's going to be sunshine and rainbows? No. Anything worth having is most of the time not easy. But it's simple. You can learn a system. You can plug in daily, compound your efforts, and eventually, right? Eventually, when God's timing meets your preparation, the magic moment happens and you strike gold and you start having some breakthroughs in your life financially, and then you start getting some more freedom in your life. And it's a beautiful thing. And I remember there was so many years I was grinding tunnel vision every single day, just looking for that breakthrough. I see it's happening for all these guys, but I was a screwball growing up. I was a troublemaker. I graduated high school 2 years late. Is it ever really going to happen for me? That was my question. But there was only one way to find out. And one thing I always kept in mind is, dude, if these people can do it, why not me? The beautiful thing about network marketing is you can meet people from all walks of life, whether they're a truck driver, whether they had cancer 4 times and they're a survivor, whether they're a single mom, working 3 jobs to raise, their kids, whatever the case is. But now they are multimillionaires in the industry of network marketing, right? The story that would knock most people off is what top earners and one percenters use as fuel to catapult them to the next level. So when your broke best friend tells you you're an idiot, these things don't work, most people let that knock them off course of their goals and dreams. But the one percenter, they're like, dude, you don't have the lifestyle I want. I'm not taking advice from you. I'm all in, baby. And so I truly believe that this is a great, from a business standpoint, Akashx is a great company to build your brand, build your team, your community, your influence, your skill sets on. And I truly believe that. And we're just getting started. And I know that's cliche to say. Thayer was building behind the scenes Akashx for about a year and a half. And then I came and they came out with Tap to Trade. And that's when I was like, this is something nobody else has. And, because I made a smart decision, we launched to the top of the company. But now, the dust has settled. We're here. We have a beautiful company. It's not about hype anymore. It's about, do we have good quality education? Yes. People love our education. Are people earning in our community? Absolutely. Millions of dollars have been paid out to our community. I've never seen anything like this when it comes to trading. Usually trading is all hype and cap and fake and everyone's flexing, with their clothes and their cars. I actually witnessed it with my own eyes. I love investing, but I hate scamminess. I hate fakeness. And in this space, you have to kind of sift through a lot of that to see what's real and what's not. Here, it's real. I truly believe it. Of course, people have lost money too. That's trading. That it's risky. But our platform is like I've never seen before. The technology, the app, the back office. So our products and services, our back office, our leadership, our systems. This is a beautiful company to build your brand, to build your community through 2026. And I truly, truly believe that and far beyond, because we're just going to keep getting better. And my flag is planted. I can't stand the hopping around thing that people do out there in the industry. It's mind blowing to me. Pick a place, plant your flag, go all in. And at some point, like I said, you're going to have your breakthroughs as well. So I'm going to jump into it real quick. I'll share a little bit of my story and a little bit of a training as I go. Hopefully you guys can pull some value in it out of it. So real quick, type some fire emojis in the chat if you guys are ready to go next level. I know Josh Amundsen's out in Bali right now with Jay and the boys, and he's behind the IV getting hooked up. He's like, bro, I got Bali belly out here. I'm like, damn, bro, you're getting sick out there. We need you locked in on this run with us, brother. Um, But anyways, guys, so for me, I've been in this industry for 13 years. I'm from Stillwater, Minnesota. I grew up in an amazing family. I was a troublemaker in my teenage years. A lot of you know my story. I got locked up for 2 years, graduated high school 2 years late, got caught selling drugs to an undercover cop, got out in 2011, reconnected with my high school sweetheart, and I had a garbage bag full of clothes that wasn't even mine, and I had to figure it out. So my dad's like, okay, you can stay at home and then you're going to go to college. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to get out of the house. And I'm like, I don't have anywhere else to go. So, okay, I'll enroll into school, even though I knew school prepared me for a job. And I already knew at this point I didn't want a job. I wanted to find a way to be my own boss and have freedom. But I had to start, right? I had to just get out on, and start taking some steps in the right direction. I was 22 years old at the time, so I got into school. By the time I was getting into college, my buddies were graduating. But then I also got a job at LA Fitness selling memberships, and then I realized real quick that the corporate world is toxic. You know, my business or my colleagues were trying to steal my sales. They're talking crap behind my back. You know, this person's trying they're trying to steal my sales to get the assistant manager position, all these things, and I'm like, dude, this is not the industry I want to be in. I don't get paid enough to sit around here with you ding dongs trying to chase after that assistant manager position so I can sit here for 60 hours a week and make 45,000 a year. That just there's no way. And so my wheels were spinning. I don't know if any of you guys have probably felt like this at some point in your life where you're like, you know, for me, I was like, this is not it. There has to be something else out there. I got the hottest chick out of my high school. She, for some crazy reason, picked me up from jail. Like, she did not have to be coming to pick me up. She could have been with anybody else. So I'm like, I got to be a provider. I got to step up and go do something great. And it wasn't going to be at that job. And again, how could I'm going to college now. How could I even pass college if I barely could make it through high school? I'm sitting here in my classes and I'm like, this is so boring and I'm learning nothing that's going to ever help me in the real world. So here's what happened. I was in a class called Student Success, and you write down on a piece of paper what you want out of college and kind of your visions of where you want your life to go and what your hobbies are, whatever. Just to start, right? It didn't even count as a college credit. It was a prerequisite that you had to pay for, of course. And so I wrote it down, and what I wrote down. I read it later. It said, I don't know exactly what I want to get out of college, but what I can say is I just met this guy at the gym and he told me he could share an opportunity with me because he's helping people become financially free. So I'm open to seeing what he's talking about, but for now I'm going to be plugging in at school, working on becoming a personal trainer. So that was crazy to me. I wrote that into a letter to myself. And then I met that guy at the gym who told me he could teach me how to be financially free. I went over to his house and he showed me this industry for the first time. And I remember thinking to myself, if this is real, my life is about to change. Like, if I could write down on a piece of paper my dream career, it's be my own boss, choose my own hours, have the ability to travel the world, choose the people that I want to work with, have tax benefits, no income cap, leveraged income, high paying skill sets, dope community, have, you know, successful people like this guy who was making 150,000 a month tell me he was going to teach me and help me become successful, right? Where else in the world can you go have that? And so here he is right here. David Peach. That's who I met at the gym 13 years ago, May 1st of 2012. And he asked me, he goes, are you ready to get started? And I was honest with him. I said, I'm skeptical. He said, I'm rich. How's skeptical working out for you? I said, I'm broke. If I get started today, I have $3 left over. That's where I'm at. So it's not working. And he said, if you want something different, you got to do something different. Stop listening, watching, and doing what broke people are doing and start listening, watching, and doing what successful people are doing. Because if you do what they do and you say what they say, you can have what they have every single time. And so I looked at him. I gave him my card to get started. I signed up that day. He gave me a $20 bill for gas just to get home, and he told me to meet him. He had an event that night he wanted me to come to see a bigger picture, right? So I went home. I didn't tell my dad what I was doing because he knew I was coming over to this guy's house. He didn't want me to get sold or anything like that. And I went downstairs and I told Britt I did exactly what we weren't supposed to do. He literally taught me the invite and I didn't do the invite. I explained everything, which is what we weren't supposed to do, right? So I told her, I said, remember that guy I met at the gym? He's making 150,000 a month. He's willing to work with me, and I'm all in. And I got to go to his meeting tonight, and this is what it entails. And there's travel involved, and there's two teams, and she's like, oh my gosh, Joey, that is a scam. And I'm like, I don't even care. Listen, I've never met a guy like this in my life. He's a Christian. He lives in Woodbury. Beautiful home, beautiful family. Like, I don't know how this could be a scam, but I'm at least going to see a bigger picture of what he's talking about. So I got in the car. I drove out there with her. Halfway through the presentation, she goes, "Oh my gosh, I am all in." And so she signed up. I scored in 24. And that's your goal. When you get someone started, help them score in 24. Okay, if you haven't scored yourself in 24 in a while, you should probably do that because that's the main thing, right? Leading by example, showing people, not telling people. And so I scored in 24. I got Brit in, and then Brit went out, and we taught her the same system that David Peach taught me. And so she went out there and started sharing it with some of her network. And she found a girl named Amanda. And I told her to show Amanda at her work. And she's like, "I'm not showing Amanda because no one likes her. She's the weird." Da, da, da. And I said, "I don't care. Don't prejudge anybody. The people that you think won't do it are the ones that will. And the people that you think will are the ones that won't." Can you imagine? He didn't have to show me. Thank God he did. So you never know who's crazy enough and then who has a loose enough screw to go off and go build this thing. Who cares if you like him or not? Show everybody. And so she went and showed Amanda. Amanda signed up, and Amanda brought out a whole carload of people that following Thursday to the next meeting because we did presentations every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. Amanda brought out a carload. A few of those people got started. I got acquainted with them because I went to a Super Saturday where a guy named Johnny Wimbry was speaking, and he was doing a stage talk called The World's Greatest. And I remember that was my first event, and it was in Minneapolis, and I'm standing on the chair at the end of the event just screaming. And I'm like, this is crazy. This environment is everything I've ever needed because listen, I went to jail for 2 years or for a year. I went a year and a half in Teen Challenge, a year of AA once a week. I never resonated with that. I didn't really, no one wants to be in Teen Challenge, glory to God. Thank God I had that opportunity. But it was this industry, it was these people, these crazy people in this industry that dream bigger than anybody else, that want more, that also hate school, that also don't want to work a job. And I'm like, dude, I'm surrounded by 500 people that are just fired up for life. Hell yeah, dude, this is amazing. And so we left that event, and a few people that we had on the team, I said, "Hey, I don't even care. Britt's house. We're doing an event." So we did our very first launch event at Britt's house. This was my very first presentation. This was the people on the team, and there was probably another handful of people that came out just to check out the information. But I remember I was, hooking it up to the computer, getting it all set up. Here comes the people, and now it's time to start, and I'm just freaking out. But I did the presentation, we got through it, and that was it. And in order to grow your wealth zone, we learned in our first company that you have to grow your comfort zone. The only way to get to the next level is by stepping out of your comfort zone and just throwing yourself in the fire and doing it. I promise you, I was not comfortable doing this presentation. It was super uncomfortable, but I kept just showing up, showing the deal. Boom. Okay, so this is the squad. You see it says self-made. I've never liked that. So David Peach, you see the bald guy in the middle? He put me on a kid's team named David Helgeson on the far left over there. He wanted the team name to be self-made. Okay, I never really liked it, but we rocked the shirts, whatever. We had this community we were building. This was my right team. Okay, this was my right team. We get to the next training, and they said, "Stand up and if you referred your four and pay no more." And we all stood up. We're like, "Heck yeah, bro, let's go, let's go." Now stand up if you're not yet 30-30, but you're 10-10. So 10-10, 10 on your left team and 10 on your right team, but not yet 30-30. All these guys stand up. A lot of them you see in this picture stood up, but I couldn't. And I was the guy that signed up with the top earner. And I'm sitting here, and my team all looked over at me, and they go, "Ha ha, Wilson, you don't have 10 on your other side yet." And I was like, oh my gosh. I was 115 on one side and 2 on the other. And I remember that was the moment. That was one of my defining moments where I was like, there's no way in hell. I cut out all the fat in my life and I went all in because there's no way. I mean, if you want to be the 1% of the 1%, you got to outwork everybody. These guys are starting to pass me. Okay. And I'm like, there's no way. I got to go. And so we all went to our first event. That was in Kansas City. This was also Matthew Thayer's first event. I don't even know if I knew him yet at this point. But you see us up here in the nosebleeds. And I'll tell you guys, when I first got started, you guys will probably understand this. when you first get started, it's like, dude, this is the land of the opportunity. Some of you guys have heard this before, but I was at that dude's house in Woodbury, Minnesota, in a beautiful home, and he had the Range Rover Autobiography, brand new Beamer he just bought for his wife. Beautiful home. And I'm sitting in there, and he's just telling me, he's like, dude, anything is possible. This is the opportunity. And he's telling me the stories, and I'm just like, dude, this is crazy. It's the land of opportunity, like where I can dream big again, where I don't have to just think about getting a regular job and then doing that for 40 years of my life and just eking out a living, taking one major vacation and pretty much just sitting on the couch watching TV till I die. Because that's what the majority of people do. And so I'm like, I feel like I can dream again. It's so great. This is crazy. That's why I say I feel like I'm Willy Wonka, or I'm Charlie from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I got the golden ticket. Like, why me? I got the golden ticket. I know not everybody sees this like that, but I did. And I remember going home and I went, obviously I put Britta in that day, and then she got some people rolling. Well, here I was trying to get some people rolling too. And I went and showed my best friends, Nick and Sam and Dietrich. But they know I'm always excited about everything. And I also just got out of county, so my credibility wasn't all that high. And I was so excited. And I remember we were on a boat, and I'm like, bro, I'm all in. I just met this guy. His name's David Peach, and he makes 150,000 a month. And there's left teams and right teams, and there's travel, and you can do this, and he's gonna help us and whatever it takes. And Sam Grow looks at me and goes, Wilson, shut up. I go to school. I'm going to college. I know you don't understand this, but I'm going to college for marketing. No one's going to pay you 100 grand a month. And at that moment, I'm just like, damn, you just shut off that. You'll never make 100 grand a month just for thinking like that. But one thing my mentor told me that I'll never forget when he said that, one thing my mentor told me before I left his house the very first day, because he knows I was a vulnerable 22-year-old who doesn't know his head from his ass yet, and he's never seen this industry before. He said, consider the source. When someone gives you an opinion on anything, consider the source. If you buy someone's opinion, you have to buy their lifestyle. So your friends, when they're telling you or giving you advice on this industry, have they ever made 25,000 a month in this industry before? Or do they not even have $25,000 a month dollars in their own bank account? And so that's what I had to take in inventory, is consider the source. When my buddies were looking at me and like telling me I was an idiot, but at the same time, I'm a human being, right? I'm a human being, and I'm sitting there thinking, I don't even know this guy that I met, but he is successful. But my boys, these are my boys. Maybe they're right. Because listen, if I can't get them to join, how am I going to get anyone to join anyways? Right? And so that was that day, and I just started contemplating it. Like, is it worth it? If I can't get them to join, how will I even be able to have success in this industry? But then I went to that meeting, that first Super Saturday training, where I was kind of on the fence at this point. And I didn't know if I wanted to keep going. I didn't know if it was actually going to work for me. But it was at that Super Saturday training where I was like, damn, the land of opportunity again, where you can dream bigger. You can have whatever you want out of life if you're willing to follow a system for a season of your life, right? And so I just said, dude, this is the land of opportunity. This is amazing. But then you get back home again, and then my parents were like, Joey, stop focusing on that crap. Focus on school. Focus on what's important. And I remember thinking, Dad, I love you to death. Mom, I love you to death. Dopest parents in the world. And they're only saying these things because they care about me and love me, and because they don't know. They just don't know. But I said to myself in my mind, but because again, it's like, this is my family. I already put them through hell, right? I already was trying to, in 2009, put my mom through all sorts of craziness. She was waiting up all night, see if I'd come home. And I wanted them to be proud of me. So at that moment, I just thought to myself, is this even going to be worth it? To deal with the bullshit? My buddies don't even really want to join. It's almost just easier to just not do it, because it's the land of the common man. The common man will justify why it's okay to be average, right? They don't want you to go out and do something different. They don't want you to step outside of the box, because you would be a reflection of what they wish they were. And so I just thought to myself when my dad said that, Joey, don't focus on that crap, focus on school. I'm like, my gosh, school. Now at this point, I have a little bit of personal development under my belt. Okay. There's no way. A formal education will make you a living. A specific education will make you a fortune. And so I was all in on doing the personal development the right way. Right. And so again, I just considered the source in that moment. If I want to learn on how to make $70,000 a year and work on a milling machine for 30 years straight in a factory my dad has always referred to growing up as the armpit, then maybe I could take advice from there. But he can't teach me how to make 50 grand a month or 100 grand a month and get true freedom. And so, but I was at that point where I'm just like, oh man, I just don't know. But that's when we went to Kansas City. And that's when you saw me in that picture right there. There was a point at this event when a guy named, and some of you guys know him and you've heard this story, Matt Morris, he was up on stage and he was talking about burn the bridge. He said, some of you in this room haven't made the decision yet to burn the bridge. And there was not, he said there was nothing that was ever going to stop me, and I was going to achieve my wildest dreams, and the opinions of other people didn't matter. And he was screaming from the stage, and I remember I looked at Britt and I just said, I'm burning the freaking bridge. I am all in, and there's nothing that's going to stop us for living the dopest lifestyle on the planet. But that's not when it gets easier. That's just when it starts. That's when it starts getting harder. Now I'm making the decision to really go all in and put my name behind this 110%, right? So I left that event and I started calling my white hot market. Who do I know? Who can I get started on my left leg? I'm 115-2. This is freaking ridiculous. I need to get it going here if I want to make any money, right? And at that point, I was just trying to get to about 2,000 a month. 2,000 a month was a good point for me where I was able to walk away from my job, keep living at my parents, and I had really no bills, but I could, travel a little bit if I really had to, but just basically get from meeting to meeting. So I hit up my best friend, Nate Nelson. Okay. Nate Nelson, this dude has hustle. He has the gift of gab. He's a little schemy though, right? He's a little schemy. I would pick him up every single morning and put him in my passenger seat. And he would have appointments set up. I would have my meetings, but I taught him how to build this thing from the scratch. Got him a laptop, got the presentation on it, went to our first meeting. I did the entire presentation. He just introed who I was and why he's excited. I did the entire PowerPoint. The next presentation, he did the front half, I did the back half. The third presentation, he did the whole thing. I watched and just gave him some constructive criticism, right? But I built with him every day, and we got him to the point where he was 60 on his left team and 60 on his right team. He was moving and grooving, and we had a falling out over something so stupid because I had a $500 event ticket for him to come to Dallas, and he said, put the event ticket in my name and I'll come. I said, show me your flight. And he said, he sent me a fake receipt of a flight. He would have taken that ticket and sold it for $500 to someone else on my own team. Okay, that's the schemy part. But I had the ticket ready for him. I'm like, bro, I got your ticket for free. Come to the event. He just, for some reason, he never would come to the events. He was a goofball like that. I don't know what it was. But he ended up leaving and going to a company called Wake Up Now back then. And this is when Wake Up Now was making a clean sweep through people's companies, and especially all the kids. And here I was. This was my childhood best friend. I knew since kindergarten. I hung out with almost every single day. He left my team. He posted all over the place that I was a piece of shit leader and I wasn't going to win and this and that. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, I couldn't. And it was just a test. Can I get through it? Can I get through this? Right? But we still had those 120 people. Eventually they fell to pretty much nothing, but I didn't stop there. I kept digging, right? There's 4 aces in a deck of cards. I'm running with the people that want to run with me. If Nate doesn't want to run with me anymore, it's all love, bro. I know it's a personal issue that he has with himself, that he's talking crazy about me and all this and that. So it didn't even matter to me. I don't have time to worry about it. I've always looked at this industry like it's like running on a treadmill at like 10 miles an hour. If you're walking at 3 miles an hour, and people are walking through the door behind you, you can literally look behind you and see who's walking in, right? And act, if those are your problems and you're walking, you can look behind you and see all your problems. But if you're running at a 10 and you're all in and you're tunnel vision focused, you almost don't even see the issues of the drama. I don't have time to look. If I even look, I will get hurt because I will fall on this treadmill. So I am running full speed ahead. So I'm flipping the cards, flipping the cards, flipping the cards. I'm looking for that next ace, or at least someone I can run with, because it's me behind my computer, right? Entrepreneurship, there's more times that are lonely than not, right? There's some lonely times. I'd sit in Starbucks, I'd sit in Dunbros, I'd sit in Barnes and Nobles, I'd sit at McDonald's 24/7 Wi-Fi till 2 a.m. sometimes by myself if I had to, because I wouldn't go to bed until I put someone in the system. Some of you understand what I'm talking about, okay? But that next guy I show, he was my staff at Teen Challenge, Daryl Glaze, Pastor Daryl. I got Daryl Glaze started, and I put him in my passenger seat. You see Britt in the background there. And I just showed him the deal. I he has his laptop, put the PowerPoint on his laptop, helped him get a clicker. I did the first presentation for him. The second one, he did the front half, I did the back half. Third one, he did the entire thing. Next thing you know, we're doing one-on-ones, we're doing two-on-ones. I'm getting into his organization, helping a couple people on his team. He's doing live events out of his apartment building media room, and we're just going every single day. And we were also doing live presentations at Kokomo's and cantinas, at restaurants at the Mall of America, whatever it takes for as long as it takes. One dude he pulled up with one day, his name was Mikhail Steele. And we're sitting there, and he goes, Joey, I got to introduce you to this man right here. Daryl never really had a whole lot of success out of the gate yet, and he was looking for someone, and he finds this 18-year-old kid, introduces me to him. The kid's like, bro, I don't got any money. I'm not going to lie, but I can get started next week. And I'm like, hell no, you're not. Daryl, if you got the bread, spot this dude, and I'll go show his people right here, right now. And Daryl put him in, and then I put Mikhail in my passenger seat, and we went to work. I drove 40 minutes to Burnsville, Minnesota, and 40 minutes back every day for at least a year. And I wouldn't be driving back at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I'd be driving home at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes 4 a.m. And I'd fall asleep or almost fall asleep in the same spot on the way home every night. So I'd pull into this church parking lot, I'd turn off the car, I'd take a little nap, I'd wake up, I'd pump the AC, or I'd roll down the windows in the middle of winter, and I would just get me home, baby, get me home, whatever it takes. But me and this dude went and put in thousands of people. And that was a lot of fun. And that ended up helping Daryl qualify for the BMW. So there's Daryl and Kathy over there with their BMW. And then boom, Mikhail ended up getting his BMW as well. And then we just kept building, kept building. The thing with Mikhail is he liked to smoke a lot of weed. So every time I'd pick him up, I would be at his doorstep, pick him up, or I'd pick him up from his job. And I swear to God, this dude would burn one. He'd want to go get Burger King, and then he'd be napping. And I'd be sitting out in Burnsville looking at him in my passenger seat. I just drove out here, picked you up, brought you to McDonald's or Burger King, and now you're taking a nap. Like, these are just things we have to deal with. I'm not waiting on this dude. I love this dude, but I got to keep texting people. I got to get someone started and drive depth because I'm not waiting on anybody, right? That's just how this works. We're driving depth. You hear us talking about that a lot. But I just kept showing the plan, kept showing the plan. Here's the thing. Although I was dialed every single day and I felt like I was outworking everybody, we were having so much fun. And that's the most important thing you need to learn on this call is step number one, have fun. The more fun you have, the more money you make. Most people don't want to get another job. They already have a job and they hate it. Don't treat this like a job. You're not their boss. You're their business partner. You're their friend. And that's how I've always looked at this thing. And so me and Mikhail and the team, we traveled all over the place. And we were on a trip one time, and that's where actually Thayer reached out to me, and he goes, man, I'm tired he said something like, tired of watching you guys have so much fun, bro, because he was working his car sales job after college, and he joined network marketing for a blip, but then he fell off and he was working at his job. And I said, brother, get started and let's run it up. And we're in the sorting business. So when I'm talking to you, when you first get started, I'm hearing your voice, and I'm wondering if you're asking, if you're saying anything that's worth me even driving out there. Like, oh, sometimes people will join and be like, I'm just gonna trade for a little bit, man, and see if I have results before I show someone. I'm not driving 2 hours to Thayer if he said that to me, right? But what he said was, bro, I have a whole bunch of people to show. Come up here and let's show them. Perfect. Okay, so here we go. It's game time. Basically, long story short, drove up to Eau Claire. That's an hour and a half each way. I was doing that about 3 days a week until I started sleeping on his beanbag. That's me, Thayer, and his childhood best friend, Jake Violet. And we would go from meeting to meeting. In Wisconsin, it's like 1 hour to one house, 1 hour to another small town, to another house, another hour to an awkward living room in another house. And it's just, to a Starbucks, whatever, just doing it all day, every day. And then, because what he really wanted to do, he saw that trip, right? And the more fun you have, the more money you make. Here he comes. I started building my influence. I started building my brand. I started getting better at what I was doing. I started having more success. Thayer saw that, and then he saw how much fun we were having on top of it all. And that's when he reached out. And that's when I struck back and said, bro, let's run this thing up. And then we started running. That next month, boom, we got Matthew Thayer on his first trip right there. And at this point, he will tell you, if he unmuted his mic, it was a trip like this that made him go all in because it was the culture,
This
it's the
trip, this
community.
trip alone was the one trip that made me want to go all in because it was all the stories of like Mikhail and Austin Great and Anthony Markcraft and Connor that were making residual income that had people on their teams. And I was able to hear their stories on this trip. I wasn't making any money at this point, but I was able to actually hear their stories and hear how they were able to have success. And on this trip, I was like, I'm never going back. I'm all in and I need to make this work.
And that's what we did, bro, every day, all day. So we got back to work, and it was there that once I finally started working with someone like him, finally, the dude had credibility with his contacts. He had influence. He had his ability to dream big, but then stay consistent. Everything was in alignment with what I wanted to do, anyways. So it was just like, bro, let's go. I've never met someone that wanted to outwork everybody and dream bigger than everybody at the same time. This is it, dude. And we just started running. And from that point, we used to do Tuesday, Thursday meetings every single day. And it was meetings like this where we'd get the projector set up and we'd have, 60 people in the room and we'd be nervous as shit to get up there, but it didn't matter because we were just, this is what we had to do. And at the end of it, we knew how good it was going to feel and all the people were going to get started, whatever it takes. And that was our mentality. If you drive an hour to a presentation and no one shows up, so what? Do it anyways. If you drive to Kansas City and a dude gives you cash to get started, and then he disappears and you never see him again, and now he doesn't even have a monthly auto ship, and then we drove to Colorado to sign up another girl, and by the time we drove home she quit too. So what? Do it anyways. The hardest part is just getting to the top for the first time, clearing your first six figures in this industry for the first time. So what I was thinking about was like, dude, I need to get to a six-figure income. Find the people that have it, do what they do every single day, and just claw. That's what I look at it as. Like, my nails are bloody from climbing this mountain, but it's worth the climb, because once you get over to the top, at that point, I mean, it's kind of the same analogy of like the jet taking off the tarmac. It uses up almost all of its fuel in the beginning, but then once it's off the ground, that's the easy part. You built your influence, you built your skill set, you built your brand. Even if the company shut down and they took away your income and took away all the money in your bank, it doesn't matter, because your network and your skills. That's what we were doing. We were just doing the reps every single day, and we sucked. I promise you. We're still working on getting better. But and then boom, of course, he had to go pull up in his BMW too. And it was kind of cool. It actually was not a good system that we had with Beamers, because you had to keep qualifying every month. Yes, me and Thayer kept qualified every month on multiple positions. Most people didn't. So they were losing their cars and it just didn't end up being well, but it was a sexy attraction to be able to get other people to join. So that was pretty cool. This was another event. I remember at Jammin' Wings, I remember counting, there was like 40 guests, and I'm like, there, bro, we have like 40 guests here, dude. This is crazy. But it started with just doing the one-on-ones in the coffee shops, the two-on-ones, the Zoom calls. We didn't have Zoom back then. It makes me feel super old, but we just kept fighting and showing the deal and showing the deal. And then boom, we pulled up at an event with over 100 people on our team there. Everybody was super excited. And, remember, here is where I burnt the bridge. This is the point. This is where I was standing when I watched the truck driver walk across that stage saying he's making a six-figure residual income and he got his life back. This is where I was standing when I saw the dude named Jay Peso walk across that stage and say he's an amateur boxer working at FedEx, and he was able to walk away from FedEx, go all in on his dreams, build residual income, and keep focusing on boxing, right? It was all of those stories that I heard, and then I went to work. You get paid in public for what you do in private, right? How many have you heard that before? And then here we were. I cannot tell you how nervous I was. I was shitting my pants and I was sweating everywhere. I was like, it was 15,000 people in the audience, and walked across stage for 100K earners. That means we made $8,300 or more a month. So it wasn't 100K lifetime. This was the 100K from scratch from nothing, from the mud, just driving depth one after another, right? You put one in, you welcome to the team, you get them set up, you show them how to run their website, and then you help them make their list. Who's your white hot market? Who knows you the best and trusts you the most? And then let's go show them who's the first couple people you could get started today just because you're doing it. But I'm gonna help you, but I'm not gonna wait on you. Right. And then boom, I grab another personal and I put it under them right away and I say, congrats on the growth of your business. Coming back to Daryl Glaze, here's what happened. This is the story I tell. I drove depth 115 levels deep or whatever it was, 130 something levels deep, I think it was, and all on Daryl's left. And I just kept hitting Daryl and everybody. I even had mass text groups. Even if you quit, you were getting the text. Congrats on the growth every day. Congrats on the growth. That was my mission in life. That you were gonna get a congrats on the growth of your business text message today, and I was never gonna. It was like Chinese waterboard. So I'm just gonna keep dripping on you, because here's what happens when you drive depth like that. It's like lighting a match and flipping that match upside down. Okay, when you flip that match upside down, it burns up the match. When you that leg, it burned up. Someone in that upline of 130 people at some point is gonna light on fire from getting those text messages. And that is when Daryl called me and said, I have a kid you need to meet. Okay. So that's my whole point, is driving depth. That was the best thing we ever did. And we just put in the work every single day, all day long. All I did was think about what I want my life to look like and then showed 3 to 5 a day. And I need to get those congrats messages out. That's it. And I'm still doing the same thing today. Okay. What calls do we have today? Perfect. I have a mentorship call I got to do today. I got to get prepared for that. See what else is going on in the company, right? Some calls that we have to get on, diamonds and above. But then I got to get back to, where's this line that I'm building? I need to get some congrats messages going. I need to get some of their personals going. I need to help them score in 24. That's some of the most important stuff in the world, because I need to go build new. If I go build new and you guys are all seeing me go build a new line of 1,000 and me building these markets all over the world, all you guys are going to think of is, dude, he just keeps building. He's going with or without us. I need to go. That's what you guys need to do too in your life. Sometimes it gets easy to be a manager and manage your team all day long, and then you expect them to listen to you, but they're not listening. They're doing what you're doing. It's just trying to manage others. Instead, separate yourself, keep your hand on the pulse of that team, go build new, and watch your current organization squirm to go find new as well. I promise you, they will do that. It happens every single time. So as I'm building, because if I'm just sitting here trying to manage all you guys are all, a lot of you guys are all leaders and have your own systems and stuff. You'd be like, what does this do? Does he even do anything anymore? Hell yeah, I'm driving a whole new leg to 1,000, baby. And we're having some fun with it. And I love being in phase one. I love the thrill of the hunt. I didn't join this industry to be a trainer. I didn't join this industry for anything else other than having freedom and working with dope people. But one thing I really do love is the thrill of the hunt, is going out there and finding that next person that was just like me, that has nothing but a blank slate and dreams and goals and massive ambitions, and they just don't have that track yet. That's what I love about this industry, the thrill of the hunt. And you just got to be a sorter and just keep flipping cards. And at some point, when, like I said earlier, when God's timing meets your preparation, that's when the magic moment happens, and that's when you strike gold. And we just kept working. We hit some breakthroughs. A lot of you guys, some of you guys know that story, but after that 6-figure run, life got a little bit easier, right? Life got a little bit easier when you're making a little bit more money. And so we were traveling a little bit more. We were getting better content. I was elevating my brand, my skills. I was getting better stage time, getting on the leadership retreats. More high-speed people were joining me. And that's how this works. Guys, listen, I'll tell you right now, and then we'll wrap up this call. How many people on this call, if I could just tell you right now how to go find that ace tomorrow, how many people would want to hear it? If I could tell you actually how to go find that ace by tomorrow, I'll tell you. It's not hard. Okay. If you want to guarantee yourself that ace tomorrow, you just take a look in the mirror. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but you're the only one on both of your sides. You're the only one on both of your sides. You have to be the one. You have to look in the mirror and say, if it is to be, it is up to me. I can't wait on my upline, my downline. I can't wait on anyone. And I have to know, just go all in for a season of my life. I'd rather sprint for 1,000 days, tunnel vision, cut the fat out for a season of my life rather than working for the next 40, 50 years of my life, eking out a living working for somebody else. I bought into that plan. I bought into that vision. I committed to the process. I didn't quit when most people would have, and I stayed the course, and boom, the magic moment happened. We built our dream home. We travel the world. We do whatever we want every single day. And we went to Sweden, had lunch with people out there, and they're like, bro, thank you so much for coming out here, bro. It's so amazing. I'm just like, bro, thank you. Thank me. Thank you guys for loving me and showing me your city and wanting to do this with us. I love you guys. I love what we have. This is an amazing opportunity. And I'll tell you, especially if you haven't even hit 30 years old yet, because I know most of you are still in your 20s, it's time for you to go harder than you've ever gone in your entire life. Do what I did. So by the time you hit 30 years old, you got 50,000 a month coming in and you're chilling, you're good. You can take care of your family. You can do what you want to do. And at that point, anything over 25, 30,000 a month doesn't even matter anymore. At that point, it's literally how many more leaders can I help get to that point? That's my main mission in life. That's my main goal. And so I'm fired up and excited for what we have. This platform is amazing. We have great leadership. I'm blessed to be partnered with Matthew Thayer, Ollie, Dr. China, all these great leaders in this company. This is just the warm up. I promise you that. I mean, just imagine, guys. Akashx, the brand, did about $25 million in total. That is baby, but that was formulation. We're tipping into momentum phase where we're going to take this company, I promise you this, to another small size, which is 25 million a month. Okay? 25 million a month. This company is 25 million in lifetime earnings in the last, what, 2.5, 3 years. We're going to 25 million a month. That's our next goal. It's going to happen. That's still a baby company because the goal after that is going to be way bigger. So lock in. We're blessed to have this opportunity. The time is right now to set your future self up. Let's go get it. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you on the next call. To the top we go, guys. Have a good night. Peace.